Hello and welcome to episode 10, if you can believe that, of Inside the Race, the MyWhoosh Racing Podcast, with me, Hayley Simmons, and my co-hosts, Matt Payne and Emma Martin.
Wow.
Sorry, I was too busy just realising that I could say hello in sign language still. I didn't realise I had that skill. Thank you, everybody who's watched, liked, subscribed, and sent us messages so far. Every interaction that you have with us, whether that's writing a comment, putting a smiley face on there, a cheeky wink on there, a cheeky question on there, every one of those, every interaction really helps. So please, please, please do keep on going. It really does help us. It does make a big, big difference. As we're just starting to get established. I know it's 10 shows, but we're just a little minnow in a very big pond. So if you can help us grow a bit, it would really, really help.
Well, today we go inside the MyWhoosh Championship Stage 4. We are over halfway. Yes, we are indeed. And the first of two big mountain stages today, we were out in Bhutan. Hayley, how was it out there?
It took me a little while to recover, I'm not going to lie, but the only thing I can say is I wish it was as cold here as, you know, some of the snowy roads of Bhutan, because I was looking at it thinking, I wish I had that little bit of chill. But yeah, it was a hard day. I think it was hard amongst all the categories. It was no different in category 2, but it's nice to now be over that stage 4, 3 stages to go and a rest day on the horizon.
It looked tough, but I was watching the riders. Some riders were coping better than others with today, and today was hard, I think. And I think there's a lot of really, really good riding in that. I think overall, I was so impressed with what we saw of riders, and particularly the shots into people's pain case. Just, you know, impressive stuff from the riders.
Yeah, I think everybody suffered today. Everybody also knows what's coming up, but the effort put in by some of the riders, which we'll talk about in a minute, in order to take jerseys or just about hold on to jerseys, you know, everyone had something to fight for today. And I mean, talking about that, let's go inside the race.
Well, Bhutan today was brutal, according to Hayley, and a lot of the other riders who have sent us messages through already. It was 45.5 kilometres of racing and over 740 metres of climbing for the women. They did 2 laps of that course out in Bhutan with those 2 big climbs, but there were also the other short, sharp, snowy climbs along the way, which were really instrumental in the racing.
Yeah, they absolutely were. And I'll be honest, I was quite glad that it was 2 laps and not 3, but as I think most of the women were. But in women's category 6, it was Liz Smithson of the Vegemite Vixens, great name. She's been consistent all week, but today she took her first stage win of the championships. Doing so moved her up 2 places in the GC, and she's going to wear the Golden Leaders jersey tomorrow. Meanwhile, it's Angie Reyes who still holds on to that QOM competition, and Nina Pierce is actually in top of the sprints competition.
If we move over to category 5 in the overall, the battle still continues. The top 4 riders overall currently only separated in category 5 by 3 seconds. That's all it is. Isabel Alza is in the leader's jersey tomorrow, and we've got, I think, a real battle between Victoria Stewart, Amy Loxley, and Natalia Becker are all really close behind.
Yeah, I know. It was a fabulous, fabulous race to watch. And those 4, well, what's going to separate them? That's the question I'm going to be looking for tomorrow. In category 4, Dowling and Martinuski, we saw them go clear on the top. And Martinuski had 5 seconds on Dowling. And then when we went into the shot later, Dowling had 5 seconds on Martinuski. They came back together again. They were a minute clear of the front of the race. Martinuski might have had to settle for second place today on the day, but she took the maximum climbing points available and now has a 23-point lead in that competition. So she's doing an absolutely phenomenal job there. Angelina Roja, third on the stage. She leads the sprint competition.
Yeah, in women's category 3, I mean, what can you say about Jen Reel? She's having a phenomenal championship so far. She took the win today by actually the tightest of margins ahead of Esler, Liu, and also Lytton. So the GC battle's really heating up in this category. But actually, so is the sprint competition, because you've got Sarah Carolus and Helen McKay both tied on 38 points.
Can I just say, Jen Reel is unreal at the moment. She really is. But Brittany, I'm sorry I had to do it, but Brittany Lytton, I mean, Brittany Lytton and Jen Reel, same team. You know, the teamwork between those two that we have witnessed, not just today, but over the other earlier stages as well, has just been textbook. It was absolutely amazing. Lytton buried herself on that run into the finish today to allow Reel to sit fourth wheel in that group for as long as possible before she just went through the bunch. And I mean, Esler and Liu are also teammates. So it's two teammates against two teammates today on that run into the finish. Oh, it was just seriously good,
superb, and I think it can't be stressed enough how today really has made a selection for them, because we've got 4 Riot riders, on 2 different teams in the top 4. Then you've got Bauer 8 seconds down. Everybody else is over 3 minutes back now. That today, that could be the move that sets up the winner, if not gives us the winner. There was more whittling down. I do love the word whittling. Do look it up if it's not your favourite word, or listen to pretty much any Sunday Race Club, because there's quite a lot of them actually say what whittling is. It's a whittling down in category 2 today, with 17 riders surviving climb number 1, only 11 going over the top of the second ascent together. And then in the end, the run into the finish, we had Soapers there. I thought she was going to get it, but oh my goodness. Oh no. Sylvia Garea, boom, she went, and no one was going to touch her. What a fantastic finish. And it also means the leader's jersey is going to change hands. Sylvia Garea taking away the lead here today. I think, again, a selection being made, but how close is it on GC in so many categories? Now, we just talked about that in category 4. I mean, it's 2 seconds between Guerrero and Soapers as well. I'm not sure I expected things to still be this close. Did you?
I think there are a couple of things at play. I think the overall standard in all of the categories, I think the overall standard has been raised. I think you've got a lot of competitive riders in those categories. Riders have peaked for this as well and have really raised their game, and I think that's led to times being maybe a bit closer. But I also think that in the back of everybody's mind is tomorrow. So today was hard and there was a lot of climbing, but tomorrow is a step up, and there's nearly twice the amount of climbing tomorrow compared to today. It's a different kind of effort. It's not. We'll talk more about it later, but it's a very different kind of effort, and I think maybe people haven't gone as hard as they could have done today to create those time gaps, because there's actually going to be the opportunity for even bigger time gaps tomorrow.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I do agree, that I think riders have targeted the MyWhoosh Championships, and there's been some specific focus training, because the assumption being it's going to be roughly the same time as it was last year. And that was in people's minds. If it was going to happen, it was going to come in the summer. I also think, the strength and depth in some of the categories now is just phenomenal. It's almost like the boundaries are really small, in terms of the top of Cat 3 and the bottom of Cat 3, what it takes to come in and what it takes to move up. I mean, and we do see that movement and that shuffle, but it does then mean that we get big groups of riders who have a very, very similar ability. And it does mean you are racing riders in your category who are of a nearly identical ability. It's also about racecraft tactics, thinking on the bike as well as pure power. So it really does it brings a multi-dimension to the race. And I think we've really started to talk about that now as it all starts to come out as we progress past stage 4. I'm very excited to watch women's racing tomorrow.
I can't disagree with the word that you said there, Emma, and I put the date in your diary, all the usual things. I totally agree. I think it's really, even though I just had a quick flick through all the categories there whilst we were talking, I think it really just showed the gaps have opened up a little bit. So yes, we've got segments, we've got blocks somewhere, but they're not huge. It's not. I was expecting that stage to blow it apart. It didn't happen for me. It just didn't blow it apart. There's still there's leads of 2 seconds, Greya and Sopers. There's leads of 1 second in the lead there in the women's competition, and I think even when we look at riders in maybe category 1, I was still thinking it was going to be. I was expecting almost the race to be over already. And we're a long way. We're not the polar opposite of that. The selection is made, but we are nowhere near that now.
No, I think there are still decisive days to come, and I think that those will definitely shape the race. I mean, in women's category 1, Kate McCarthy, the world champion, she did move away from the field on the final climb, but she actually followed an earlier move by Francesca Tommasi. Guerra held the gap at about 20 seconds today. And when Alberg caught Tommasi, it almost looked like there was going to be a takeover for that third spot. But Francesca Tommasi launched such a comeback on the climb, and she secured third place on the stage today. Behind, it was a 5-up sprint for the line, and the sprint queen herself, Elise Gallegos, who we spoke to yesterday, she came out on top again. But you're right, the battles this year in Category 1 are a lot closer this year than they were last year. And I think the levels just shifted, to be honest. But in the team competition, it's tight at the top as well. And there are 47 seconds, I think it is, between the Sweat Sensations and the FCC Endorphins.
Well, why don't we hear from one of the FCC Endorphins riders and somebody who kicked off the action on that climb today. Welcome to the podcast, Francesca Tommasi. Let's hear from her now.
So joining me behind the bars now is one of the absolute superstars from women's category 1 from the World Championships last year, and especially from today's stage in Bhutan. So thank you very much for joining me to have a chat, Francesca Tommasi.
Thank you for inviting me.
So today I've tried to catch up on some of the women's category 1 action, having finished my race, but that was a really brave move today, launching that incredible attack on the second climb. Talk me through that decision a little bit. What was going through your mind when you decided to attack?
Yes, I decided to attack because my favorite thing in cycling is riding on climbs, and so I decided that was the point in which I could gain some advantage, and so put some tiredness in the legs of other riders, and so I choose that. That was the right moment because the gradient in that point increased around 10%, and after a small trait of less gradient, and so I thought that was a good point. It was also far from the end of the climb, so I decided it was better there than in the last part where it could be perhaps too late to create a selection.
Yeah, it was very intelligent racing, and sometimes it's quite difficult to kind of think everything through, when you're right on your limit. But it shows your experience and your talent for kind of choosing the right moments in the race. But after that attack, you then had a bit of a battle with Camilla Ahlberg for the finish line. Do you think the competition this year in Category 1 is stronger than maybe it was last year?
Yes, I think that level is always increasing, and so girls are getting stronger and stronger, and I myself am trying to get stronger and stronger. Also by choosing workouts that could help me with the e-cycling characteristics that differ a lot from road cycling. So yes, I think that this year competition is more thrilling than last year.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's tough in all of the categories. What are some of the specific things that you've been working on with regards to the e-cycling that's different in your opinion from outside?
I worked with my coach. We decided to work more on punchy efforts because on road I was rather endurance climber. And here on e-cycling, I have to focus more on short efforts, 2-3 minutes, and then climbs don't last more than 15 minutes. There are some exceptions like endurance climb and Bella Fett, but there are exceptions. So we decided to keep work on threshold and climbs, but focusing on the punchy efforts and also sprints that are perhaps that is perhaps my weakest point.
Well, I mean, talking about the long endurance efforts and endurance climbs, you must be looking forward to tomorrow, which is almost one very big mountain. Is tomorrow a specific goal for you, and what are your overall goals for this championships?
Yes, tomorrow it's a very long climb, so it fits very well for endurance climber, and I'm looking forward to it, and I will try to give my best. Last year I was fifth in general classification, and for this year the aim would be to improve the result of last year.
I mean, I think you're in a really good position to do that, and especially with tomorrow coming up. When you first saw the routes for this year, what was the stage that you were most looking forward to? Is it tomorrow, or was it maybe actually today?
I think there are 3 stages that I like most, and one was today's stage. Because I love Bhutan's climb very much. Then tomorrow, and I particularly like the course of Montreal, and so I really perhaps the stage for which I'm looking forward the most is the time trial of next Monday.
See, part of me agrees with you, because obviously I love a time trial. That's my background, and last year the time trial was my best stage. But I think if I had to choose a course from MyWhoosh to put a time trial on, maybe Montreal would not necessarily be my first choice. But we will see what happens.
I particularly like Morel, and I already tried it in a time trial for Italian Championships qualifiers.
Of course,
But there it was 1 lap, and on Monday there will be 2 laps, so it's a different thing. But what I like of Morel are those punchy, steep climb.
Yes, that when it was in Sunday Race Club, those punchy steep climbs split the Category 2 race basically straight away. So I think there will be some tired legs for that on Monday. But how do you think the Category 1 race will play out in the next few days? Do you expect it to be very strong racing right from the start tomorrow? What do you think is going to happen in the next few days in Category 1?
I think tomorrow maybe it won't be very, very hard from the beginning, but you never know what is going to happen. It's always a surprise. I think that tomorrow there will be a great battle because there are a lot of strong girls. Of course, Mary-Kate and Gabby in the front, but also behind the battle will be very, very thrilling. Because there are a lot of endurance, good climber.
Yeah, no, I agree. And after this, I'm assuming that your big goals will be maybe the Italian Championship and then, of course, the World Championships again this year.
Yes, right. I will be focusing on Italian Championships and also, of course, on World Championships, which is the main aim of this year.
Well, I have to say, last year, obviously, I was lucky enough to be in Abu Dhabi in person to kind of talk through the racing, and it was so exciting and it was thrilling. So thank you from me and from all of the commentators for really giving us some fantastic racing, and today as well. It makes our jobs so much more exciting as well to see somebody attacking and really lighting up the race. So thank you so much for that and for coming and talking to me before you head to work, which is crazy, but absolutely brilliant racing.
Thank you for inviting me, and it was a pleasure to speak with you.
Grazie mille. See, I'll practice my Italian.
That's good. That's good.
I try. I get some lessons from Sophie Giovanni sometimes in my French and my Italian, so I try.
Prego.
Brilliant. Thank you. I will. I look forward to watching the racing unfold in the next few days.
I'm looking forward to join next stages, and I also wish you the best of luck for your race.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much to Francesca Tommasi for chatting to me earlier before she ran off to work. Some riders are having really full-on days at the moment. I know Matt and Emma are having full-on days in the commentary studio, but Francesca had a little bit of time to recover, and then she was off to work this afternoon. But while she was working, the men were out in Bhutan, and they actually had 3 laps of the course to complete for 68.3 kilometers and 1,110 meters of climbing. And having been watching a lot of their racing, it actually did break the field a little bit today in some of these categories.
Yeah, it did. And it brought new riders that maybe we haven't seen before to the fore as well. Defending champion Rademacher, he took his first win of this year's MyWhoosh Championship, having won in 2025. Jonathan Vega put in an amazing effort with one of the best pain cave faces I think we've seen so far, in a huge effort to get to close that gap down. He got 500 meters close, and he's kept the jersey but his leader shrunk, and Rademacher moving into the top three. That should be a warning sign to everybody, I think, that tomorrow could be a tough day in Category 6.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough day. In Category 5, it was another tight battle. It saw Lucas Petter take the win by 1 second from Junior Pens. That was an amazing battle, and we had Pens on camera live during that run into the finish. It was absolutely outstanding. Nick Spratt was a further 6 seconds back. He'd gone on a breakaway with those three riders, and they'd been out for some time. Spratt took 42 of the maximum number of 45 climbing points available today. It was absolutely outstanding, and he was on a mission from the start. It was really, really clear. He now has a 57-point advantage in that competition. Well, you know, there are 55 points available tomorrow. I think he's going to be up and out and at it again.
Well, somebody who actually took the maximum 45 King of the Mountains points today was Niall Batty in Category 4. And he's now only 11 points behind Aidan Sinclair in that climbing competition. But you've got to say, Aidan Sinclair was probably man of the match, man of the day today, wasn't he? Because he had an incredible day. He took the stage win, and he's continued his campaign from the 2025 race and is holding on to both the climbing and the sprinting jerseys.
Just incredible. I just hope he's got a mattress at the side of the turbo trailer that he slid off that, I have to say.
Oh no, it seems to be a bit like all or nothing with Aidan Sinclair, and it was absolutely everything on the line today. It was all today. It really
so need that. We so need him on the show a little bit later on.
I think definitely there'll be a reaching out for a chat. But in Category 3, it was Manarelli who took victory in Category 3 today, and he was another rider who also managed to sweep up maximum climbing points. It was really consistent. He now sits 3 points behind Hjulhorst in that climbing competition. Junyu Lin, who was second on the stage, holds on to the leader's jersey that he put on yesterday.
There was a real shake-up in the men's Category 2 race today with some aggressive riding coming from Vidal Mayer. Absolutely good skills. Loved it. Go attack into a sprint. Everyone thinks you're going for the sprint, but carry on. Anyway, it moved him up 4 places in the GC, but it's Miss X100 who spotted the danger and went with him, who now pulls on the leader's jersey. He's got a 6-second gap over Mayer. Well, Nathan Guerra with a real big chase on behind. He's moved up into 3rd place overall.
It was interesting today, wasn't it? Because I thought it across the men's and the women's race, bearing in mind it was the same course, but the men did 3 laps, the women did 2 laps. I thought there was almost an exaggeration in the men's race about large groups staying together. I was really, really surprised as we were watching the men's race unfold that some of the groups are much, well, there's more riders, but the groups were bigger out there as well today, and they stayed together again for much longer than I thought. In fact, that Category 2 race, you know, it wasn't really till the very end of that race. I know I mentioned on commentary, oh look, Phil Graves, Nathan Guerra, it's the top of the climb. They're right at the back of the pack. Then we got to the top of the second climb, and Phil Graves and Nathan Guerra were right at the back of the pack. It was like they tried the first 2 climbs to have as easy an effort as possible up those climbs. And it was really that final third of the race today. But because such big groups went into that final third, I'm not sure it was really as decisive as it could have been.
No, and I think I'm not sure whether it's about how hard the race has been so far, because it's been tough. And, you know, there's a lot of tired legs out there. We get a lot of feedback, a lot of comment that actually there's a lot of tired legs out there. Or whether it's actually a fear of the unknown, particularly tomorrow.
Because it's a bit like how
it's so
far,
big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like how far do you push yourself in the red today when tomorrow you look at the course map and there's just not really that much opportunity to recover during the stage. It's not like today where you had a descent after each climb and you could, you know, take in some energy, hopefully get your heart rate down a bit. And we don't see this much climbing very often on Sunday Race Club. You know, it's second to only endurance climb. And when you do endurance climb, you're doing it after, a 6-day rest from the last SRC. But we don't have that tomorrow. We've got 4 days in the legs, and then we've got a nearly endurance climb coming up. And I think people are going to notice that when they looked at this race.
Yeah, it's similar to the conversation we were having about the women's race, but sort of exaggerated. And we often talk about the fact that even when they race the same course, the men and the women race it quite differently. But today they didn't really. They both raced it in the context of a 7-day stage race, which I wonder why I'm surprised about.
Well, no, I kind of get it, though, because we do look at it and we go, you look at each stage and you think, well, there's some people who know that they're not going to be good by the end. But we're now into day 4, I guess. And by day 4, people know if they're good or not. But also that there is that protection. There's that self-protection factor, I think, that's in there that makes you go, oh, I don't know. Maybe the good riders, they just go, I'm just going to get on with this.
So, Hayley, you've been out on the road. You've raced stage races outdoors on the road lots. You were in the MyWhoosh Champs last year. But, is it really about the fact that you get used to the pain, of multi-day stage racing, and you can park it to one side? Or, is it really about conserving energy all the way through and not expecting to have a good day once you start to dig that hole?
I think there's a lot of experience that comes with stage racing in general, whether it's outdoors or indoors, and learning to manage your energies on the stage, manage your recovery. And I think one thing that I still find difficult is almost acknowledging the fact that if my legs are hurting or if I feel tired, then everyone else is going to be in the same boat, because there's always that moment where you think, oh God, I've woken up and my recovery is not very good, or I feel tired. What if everyone else is still fresh as a daisy? And then it's like, well, actually, Hayley, they're probably not going to be fresh as a daisy, because they've also
like you.
Yeah. They've also had 3 days of racing or 4 days or whatever. So you just have to kind of give yourself a bit of a mental talking to, and just go through your process. And that's the nice thing as well about having the teams, because you've got each other to kind of give yourself confidence, and also just you chat on Discord or on WhatsApp call or whatever it is, and you can say, okay, well, girls, my legs are now I'm struggling a bit, so can we not push on here? Or actually, I'm on a great day, let's attack, let's try and drop other people. And it's just kind of about managing things as best you can during stage race, I think. So there was a lot of change in category 2. There was quite a few shake-ups, but category 1, not so many changes actually today. The race did go to form, Jason Osborne taking his 4th win from 4 stages, but it was only a margin of 25 seconds, which is maybe smaller than we thought it could have been. Though I think we said yesterday, these small time gaps, they can add up. And by the end of the race, it can actually be quite a big advantage. And, there are some big days ahead. Stefan van Aalst took 3rd on the stage. He actually moves up 1 place in GC, and he sits 3rd overall, 21 seconds behind Ollie Jones.
Yes, the final bosses still sit in 1st place in the team competition, and they extended their gap over the Alpha Jaw Space Cowboys to 64 seconds. I tell you what, let's drop in and chat with one of the team riders on the final bosses squad. Hayden Pucker joins us now.
So one of the real animators of today's race in the category 1 for the men was Hayden Pucker, and we are delighted that he is joining us now on Inside the Race and going behind the bars.
Happy to be here.
It's really good to see you, buddy. It seems a long time ago since we saw you in the World Championships, and I think there's been plenty going on, which we'll get into, but it's been good to see you back, because you've maybe not been as present as normal in the show, but great to have you here on the show. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it has been some time. Well, I haven't seen you guys for 2 years, and
I know.
I was on the podcast.
It's amazing,
wow.
isn't it, that it's that long? It really, really is. But really good to see you, Hayden.
Yeah, I did see you a bit more recently, but still feels like a really long time ago. But yeah, we saw you took a little bit of a break from Sunday Race Club earlier this year, and life has definitely been happening for you behind the scenes. Congratulations, by the way, on your engagement. You also did a marathon. How hard has it been to build up again with the cycling, with the Sunday Race Club, with a view to preparing for this championships?
Thank you. And it's been ups and downs, I'd say. The marathon was pretty intense also. I'm not gonna lie. I do not recommend that. That was not very fun.
I'm with you on that one.
It was great afterwards when I proposed and stuff. It was awesome. But like yeah, that was not easy. But yeah, it's been ups and downs, a lot of work, a lot of 3-day shifts, and trying to like prove myself in the family business for landscaping. So I've been really dedicating myself to that more, doing a lot of 12-hour days, managing crews and stuff, and a lot more stressful and a lot less time for training. But I've been getting in 10 hours ish a week, and like my fitness kind of like it goes up and then kind of plateaus and then goes down and up, and I feel like I'm a little bit worse than I was last year, but not far off. But I haven't really improved much. I kind of been like, ever since last year's MyWhoosh Championships, I'd say that was the fittest I've ever been. I've never have not been able to achieve that again. But I think that with training with Jason and Kate now, they're now my coach, I think that I will get back to that level, but it'll take some time.
Yeah, I think fitness is such a specific thing, isn't it? You can be the fittest cyclist out there, but you're not going to be any good actually doing a job like, I mean, for example, yours is particularly physical because it's landscaping, because I think no matter how much you delegate down to crews, there's always going to be a degree of getting hands in and getting hands on the job and actually being in there, particularly if it's a family business. So I think that fitness is difficult to keep really specific to cycling when you have so much other physicality going on as well. It's not like you're sat in an office and doing nothing, or you're writing computer programs, or anything that isn't really really physical. Your job is physical, so I think that fitness is there. In terms of that getting, you say you're not as fit. Does that mean that that's changed what you're looking at in terms of what you want to get out of this competition? Because we saw you leading out Pavel for the sprint, for example, putting in a big sprint lead out in there. You were working hard on the run into stage 3 yesterday. Has it meant you switched to the, being more of a team role? So because you've lost that little bit of an edge that you feel was maybe there last year?
Well, okay, so it's kind of funny. Circling back to my job, my recovery scores this week is better than they've been in like a month because I'm not working in the heat for 12 hours and it's been very hot out. So like that's been just destroying me. Like I would like do like a training session in the morning and then I'd literally be sweating through my clothes for 12 hours. And then I go to sleep and then I get home at like 6, eat, go to sleep. And yeah, my recovery was in the tank for a while. So it's getting better this week, which is kind of funny. But I've been looking at the championships.
Yeah, you're the only person, Hayden, I think, who came onto this race going, I've come here for a rest. I'm doing the MyWhoosh Championships because it's easier than what I normally do.
It honestly is. Like this week has been more like a vacation to me than a race because I'm not working at all. So it's like I do this 2-hour hard race in the morning and then like the rest of the day I can just relax and use my ice bath, the Normatec boost, red light therapy, vibration plate. I can just really like chill out.
You've gone to a race in a spa.
I was going to say he's at a spa. Where can I get one?
My mom is a health nut, and she bought all this. Like she listens to these podcasts, like I do, and she's like they'll promote like red light therapy or infrared sauna or a vibration plate, massage chair, and she'll just start buying all of it. So that's the one benefit of living at home still is that I have access to basically a full spa, which is great.
Excellent. Sorry, go back to the answer to the question about in terms of going into the team competition, buddy. I just couldn't quite believe you've come for a rest. But go on, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this as more of like I'm like the team like worker, I guess, which I'm great with. Like actually, last year I was like the main guy for the GC on like the Farm Watch squad team. So that was kind of stressful, and I don't always do well with stress. So it's nice to like not have to worry so much about my result. And I like to ride my bike hard. Like during track, I told Jason, I just want to ride my bike hard because there's so many turns that I couldn't like keep a steady power. So it's kind of nice to like just be the guy that brings people back and lead out people, and whatever Jason says, I do. You know, if he says jump, I say how high. You know, I like that. I don't
It's
mind
interesting,
putting
isn't it?
effort in.
You know, there's been some very, very famous riders, Hayden, who have been absolutely top-class domestiques, and that's been the role on the team the whole of their, 20-year career. You know, it is a real specialist thing, and, you know, being a bit of a book nut, as I sort of mentioned, and having read a lot of autobiographies, you know, there's some really great autobiographies of fabulous domestiques who really talk about how that role plays out in the peloton and how it is absolutely crucial. So absolutely crucial role with the Final Bosses team as well for you this week.
It is, and I'm very grateful to be on their team. Like it was a blessing, and I love everyone on the team, and it's been good.
Actually, I completely agree with you that there's something quite nice about taking that like personal pressure off your shoulders in terms of not having, you know, necessarily the need to kind of be fighting every single day for that GC place, and just being able to say, you know what do you want me to do today? Where can I use my strength? I'll do as much as I can. I'll commit myself 100%, and then I can kind of roll in once my job's done. And yeah, I can completely agree and see like how nice that is mentally as a bit of a switch.
It is, and especially because Jason has that like killer instinct in him. You know, like he's all fight. So like anything I can do to like help him achieve his goal, it's a win, because like he goes, you know, and it's just, it takes pressure off him, keeping him more fresh. So during the hilly stages, he can really dominate, and me and him are really close. It's really fun to race with your friends, and
yeah.
So.
Let's talk about that action actually, because today you put in a massive effort on the downhill. It was a classic Pucker move. It really was. We were talking about, you know, the national title when you attacked on the downhill and Neil Frye couldn't stay on your wheel, and you know today. Was that a Hayden Pucker move, or was that team orders? Was it Hayden go to the front and do a death pull and try and break the group, or was it just Hayden Pucker doing Hayden Pucker?
I would say a mix of both. Like I have that thing in me that like wants to always go, because I do not like sitting in. It's hard for me to like ride easy for some reason. I always want to have like a burn in my legs. But Jason did tell me to go to the front because the race was not hard enough yet. Mm. And the idea was that if I could get enough of a gap, then I could make the front group on the second climb and then be there to help out more. But so it was a team order. So like Ollie and stuff would have to chase me, but they did not chase me. Mm. Unfortunately, I had that Wi-Fi drop out for like a few seconds, which costed me some time. But overall, I'm not upset with the decision. I thought it was pretty good.
I mean, you always animate the races. You do it so often, and it's great for us to see. And you know, obviously, we've heard you say that a lot of this week is about kind of being that domestique, being that worker, and just being a good teammate and kind of following the team orders. But for you personally, when you came into this championships and kind of looked at all of the 7 stages, was there a particular stage that you were kind of looking forward to the most yourself, for whatever reason, just because you think maybe it suited you, or that you really thought that you could do a great team job on that stage?
I would say there's 2 stages that I'm looking forward to a lot. That would be the TT and tomorrow, surprisingly. Okay. Because if I can make that first climb, which I think I can, I have the ability, like I'm super good at holding a sustained power. I'm not good at the anaerobic stuff. I'm like more like a diesel engine. So like the 600
Join
watt.
the club.
Yeah, so like that anaerobic stuff, like that gives me so much lactate that I can't clear it out fast enough. But on like a steady effort, I can hold 5.7 to 6.0, so 490 to 520 for a long time without feeling too miserable. And the grade is only 3% after that first climb. So I think tomorrow I can get a decent result and hopefully make up time in the GC. And then on the TT, I'm pretty good at TTs. Like that's just, I got like 3rd last year in the TT.
Yeah, you had a great TT last year.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for a similar result in the TT, but we'll see.
Yeah,
it is more hilly this year.
Tomorrow is that first climb tomorrow is the steepest climb on the stage. And like you say, once you get up and over, then it is just gradual the whole way, isn't it? And really, really consistent. It's a very different type of climbing to that we saw today, or even on the time trial course, which is really short, sharp, and punchy.
That's why I'm a little worried for the time trial. I don't know how good I'll do because it is so punchy. And a lot of like Ruben and Niall and stuff, they can all punch and recover immediately, which is crazy. So we'll see how that goes. But tomorrow, I mean, I've always gotten top 10 on the endurance climb somehow. So it's kind of similar to that, but it's less steep. So I'm looking forward to it. And it'll be a hard day. I like hard things, so it'll be fun.
And then there's a spa to go back to afterwards. But what I was going to say was, you talked about, it's really interesting because we're listening to you chat about teams and that team competition. You know, the final boss has extended that gap today on the Alpha Your Space Cowboys out to a minute. So it's when you think about the stages still to come, a minute is still quite a small gap. So there's still a lot to play for in that team competition. How do you think the rest of the championships will play out in Cat 1? How do you think it's going to go? We're over the halfway mark now.
I don't know. I want to say that I'm very confident in my team. I'm knock on some wood. But like, anything can really happen. You could lose 5 minutes tomorrow if you have a bad day, easily. But I'm very confident in the team. I just hope that I can get over that first climb so I can be there to help out as much as I can and keep everyone else as fresh as possible. That's my main goal. But I'm confident. I think that we'll have a good result overall. I don't really know how it's going to play out. I mean, anything can happen. I think that we're pretty locked in the top 2, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I think if it all goes right, and I noticed there, you know, the sort of knock on wood there is, you know, I'm going for the Matt Cheeky question. It's coming in. It's the Matt Cheeky question that comes in at the end everywhere. Hayley's taking tips on how to do the cheeky question, I think, at the moment. I think she throws them in without telling people they're a cheeky question. It's going to be a cheeky question. You'd say sort of knock on wood. And lots of people have superstitions. Is there anything that you were, you know, superstitious about maybe, or made you a little worried? Because you said, you know, I'm confident in the team. I'm confident if I can do this. I'm confident of that. Was there anything that made you go, ooh, I'm not sure about that, or something that makes you go, I am a bit worried about this? Go on, let us into that secret. Tell us what you're worried about. Superstition or worries?
So I do definitely have worries. I'm a very worrying person. But about the MyWhoosh Championships, like this week, I actually feel very confident and at peace with it. So I'm not too worried about like this race. I think that it'll go good. I want to knock on wood just to, you know, like keep it that way. But I have gotten like fears in the past. Like an example was I had a superstition before semifinals last year that there was something bad was going to happen. All week I was like super panicking about like my trainer being plugged in and like losing connection or something or a dropout. And on the day, like I had a complete circuit crash 2 minutes before the start of stage 1 where my everything went out and I had to reset the breaker. So something bad did happen. So like in a way I kind of do believe like my gut feeling is accurate in that. And like I also like I had a bad feeling about Worlds last year and stuff, and I had a good feeling the year before that. I feel like I can kind of predict by like a feeling in my stomach. And
Intuitive.
I get that with like KOMs too. Like if I get a really like outside on like a Strava KOM, if I'm about to do a KOM and I get like this nervous like crazy feeling in my stomach, it's hard to like almost like my stomach's turning. I know I'm gonna smash it and get the KOM. It's like I can feel like the adrenaline rising in me. And then if I'm super like not in that state, then I don't get it usually.
I do know what you mean because I've had something similar outside on the road before where going into either a one-day race or a stage race, like a stage of a stage race, I thought there's something in me that makes me really not want to ride today. And for example, when that happened to me in 2018 in the Women's Tour of Britain, I broke my elbow. And so I know what you mean. There's almost this thing that you can sometimes get as a rider that, you know, that you have this sense. So I think those gut feelings can kind of, actually like really mean something. And if you like listen to yourself, it can end up a little bit better.
I just thought of like the biggest one I had. So the first year I did Unbound XL. During the national anthem before the race, I cried for some reason. I don't cry often, but I teared up and I cried. 3 miles in, I broke my wrist. Still have the scar and stuff. It's like right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I snapped it completely in half 3 miles in. And it was the XL, so I didn't even get to ride. And then I spent the entire night, like, couldn't pee or eat or anything because I broke both my arms. I broke my elbow, and then this wrist was, like, snapped. I couldn't even open up the painkillers they gave me at the hospital. It was like the worst night of my life.
That's right.
Okay, well, I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna end this on a much more cheery note and throw in my own sneaky question. What flavor? Sorry, Matt. What flavor of monster are you going for this week, Hayden?
I've been doing I'm not sure if you guys have them over there, but they're called Rain. They're made by Monster.
Ooh, okay.
It's zero sugar, and it's 300 milligrams of caffeine.
He's going to battle me for the caffeine stakes here, Matt.
And I usually have like 2 of those before the race, so 600 milligrams of caffeine. And I typically have the sour watermelon gummy flavor, and the white gummy bear flavor. I have both of those usually.
Wow.
There we go.
I think you're both mad.
I'd be shaking before commentary if I had one of those. I'd be like going on commentary like this. But Hayden, honestly, we are all with you, I tell you, on those final 3 stages for the MyWhoosh Championships, and really looking forward to watching you race. And I am willing you over that first climb now tomorrow, because I just want to see the action on those second 2 climbs in that men's race and see how it all plays out. So good luck for you and the final bosses tomorrow, and for the rest of the MyWhoosh Championships.
Thank you. That means a lot. It'll be brutal, but we're here for it.
Oh, we're going to see you online. Thanks very much, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Hayden.
See you.
A massive, massive thank you to Hayden for taking time off his luxurious spa during his holidays on the MyWhoosh Championship from work. I mean, absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's a totally different perspective from one of the... I hope he's not listening. Actually, I don't really care if he's listening to this. He's one of the nicest people I think I ever get to talk to. I never had the pleasure of... He's just like so open about everything, and I am with him. I have to agree totally on the running thing. You know, it's absolute. I've got to be careful. Emma used to run silly distances, didn't you, Emma? But, you know, I'm not sure who's going to be outnumbered here. Might be interesting to find out. I did 10Ks and I did half marathons. Every time I did either one of those, I thought I was absolutely crazy. They are horrible, horrible things. Hayley, Emma, come on, give us your views.
No, Emma's the ultra distance runner.
Yeah, when I was in my 20s, and I found cycling in my late 20s through orienteering and ultra distance running. A marathon, just do a few every day. Why not? A friend of mine and I, she was getting married. We did an alternative hen weekend. We ran Hadrian's Wall, which is one side of the UK to the other, in 3 days. That was 3 marathons in 3 days off-road over very mountainous terrain. It was absolutely epic.
Well, I mean, I was quite proud of the first half marathon I've ever done in the middle of April, and I feel now that I've been put to shame a little bit. But
no, you're just sensible. Is it the first and last, or what made you do marathon?
I did. I quite enjoyed the half marathon, and I've actually entered the same half marathon next year. I've not quite progressed to the madness of a full marathon yet, but it's going to be a marathon of a slightly different type tomorrow. And we've spoken about it a couple of times already on today's podcast, but tomorrow the mountain will judge. It is a hard old course. The men and the women, we're both in Colombia. We're all in Colombia. The women have 42.9 kilometers, actually almost exactly a marathon length, but with 1,307 meters of elevation gain. There's 2 distinct climbing segments on this parkour, but in reality, it just looks like one big old climb, doesn't it? You've got 2 sprints, but the first sprint comes very, very close. to the start of that first climbing segment. So it's going to be really interesting to see throughout the categories who chooses to go for that sprint and what effect it has on their climbing legs.
Can I just say, somebody who would want to hurt the climbers as much as possible before they inflict the hurt on me on the climb, I would be winding it up for that sprint all the way from the start, all the way in, just because I dislike what's going to happen on the next
Matt, would you
sections
be a
all the way
category
up.
6 man by any chance?
I'm not even that quick, not anymore.
Because that's exactly what they do.
Tactics.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Out of the gate, hit the bottom of the climb. Well, actually, it's a bit different in the men's, so we'll come on to the men's.
If I was any category sprinter, or if I was a woman riding in the women's race, then it's the same thing. I don't care. Yeah, and I think in the
Your
women's
race would be over at that point, wouldn't it? Through the sprint, ride home.
It will take a while.
I would be at home if I was riding in my own personal pain cave at home. That kind of, yeah. To be honest, I'd be putting a podcast on and tunes on, or watching the live feed and just entertaining myself somehow, just riding up there, just knitting or something. I don't know. Take up knitting.
Fortunately or unfortunately for you, I'm not really sure which it is. The men have a slightly different challenge because they don't have that sprint before their first climb, but they have that extra first climbing segment. So the men start a little bit further kind of down the mountain, so to speak, because the second and the third climbing segments are identical to the women's, but they've got this first challenge that starts at about the 5 kilometre mark. So overall, their route tomorrow is 57.9 kilometres. They've got 1,669 metres of elevation gain facing them.
Yeah, and the key thing in the men's race is that first climb is the steepest.
Yeah.
It is significantly steeper. It is shorter, but it's significantly steeper than the other two climbs that the women will be racing. So, I think Hayden was quite right when he talked about, the first challenge is to get up and over the first climb, and then let's see what happens in the men's race. And that's, I think, where it's a differentiator tomorrow between the men's and the women's. It's been a long day.
Yeah. It has. I've ridden this route because this is the route up to the top.
Colombia's your favourite world, isn't it, Matt?
In some kind of stupid world, at some point, I said yes. So basically, I've ridden up to the point where the second sprint is, and I have to agree with Hayden that it is about getting over that first climb. Because the second one, then it's draftable as well. I think that's the thing that we need to bear in mind here. That if it does go over in big groups, or if you've got teammates together, this draft is going to come into this because it's big, it's long, but it's not as steep on that Paso Alto. And I think the speeds could be high enough where it's going to make a difference to draft. And I think that's the unknown in here because there are some headwind sections particularly in the middle part of the climb here, whereas you don't get that on the upper climb. And I think I think there's a potential for them to be ridden a little bit differently here.
And I think that's a really interesting point because when we do go to the Paso Alto in Colombia, the steeper climb is the first one, the shallower climb is the second one. And in the men's particularly, that shallower climb is really quite significantly longer than it is in the women's. And we end up seeing bunch sprints come in on what is a really mountainous course. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out today and whether it does do the damage that we're expecting. Well, that's it for us on day 3 of the MyWhoosh Championships, where the GC battle started in earnest. Some sprinters suffered while others profited. Some teams shone and others faded. And everyone was united in the thought that this was day 1 of 2 mountain days. And tomorrow is even bigger. Well, a massive thank you to Francesca Tommasi and Hayden Pucker for interrupting their recovery to join us today. It's been absolutely fabulous to have such unique insight into the racing every day.
Don't forget to follow MyWhoosh and at MyWhoosh Info. You can pick up all of the details on the stages. So www.mywhoosh.com/events to get all the details, including the tech guide to identify the jerseys that are out there if you don't know them off by heart. The MyWhoosh Info pages, of course, because that's where you're going to see all of the splits, the details that we've been using on the show here today. Don't forget, of course, give everybody a follow inside the race. Hayley Simmons Of course, at Hayley Simmons, Emma at Biking_Emma, and myself at Matt Fixer-Payne. And of course, don't forget, follow at MyWhoosh Racing. Give us a like, follow, thumbs up, whatever the interaction is. Just give us a wave on camera if you're on the bike, if you can lift your hand off the handlebars at any point during the race tomorrow. We also appreciate all of that. All the links are going to be in the show notes as well, down to everybody's accounts.
And in our next show, stage 5 will be over, and I think a lot of people will be quite relieved about that, actually. And it could very well be the decisive day in terms of the GC and the team's classification. And by that point, we'll have seen whose race the mountain judges worthy of reward, with stage wins, time gains, and who are going to be left looking up at the tables, working out how they can get time off their sentence in the last 2 stages after the rest day. But thank you all for joining us for episode 10 of Inside the Race, the MyWhoosh Racing Podcast. And we hope to see you all at the race start tomorrow. But until then,
Goodbye.
Goodbye.